This means you. All right, so today though, we already checked the homework. Let's go over the homework. I do have written here that there's no homework, but just in case you don't get it done, as it is on the board, we are going to finish page 7. Only do your side if I know that'll make sense, and do not do the miscellaneous. Again, that'll make more sense when we get there. I don't know if you guys are going to run out of time or not, but all of my classes, you have to have page 7 done by the time we start class tomorrow. Or actually, I should say your side of page 7 done before class tomorrow. All right, so with the homework, let me find my empty packet. Again, you had pages 3 and 4 were homework. I'm guessing that if you finished your homework, you knew what you were doing because it was mostly just fill in the blank. There was only a couple of questions that required thinking or that you might have struggled on. And that question is number 12. Can everybody look at question 12? What'd you say? It wasn't bad? Who guessed or who Googled? Raise your hand if you guessed or Googled number or didn't even do 12. That's good. That's what I expected. Did you guys who Googled, did you Google the rest as well? Not going to admit to that though, are you? So most of them didn't require Googling. I mean, it's not something I expected you to know off your top of your head. Like question 1, blank is the most abundant element in the hydrosphere. Yes, I'm sure you could have Googled that and got the right answer, but it would have been easier to just check here. Hydrosphere, most abundant means most, and 66 is bigger than 33 or 1. So the most abundant is the hydrogen. Honestly, just looking on your reference table was easier than Googling that question. But question 12, did you find the answer on your reference table? You did? For 12? You did? Kind of. What do you mean by kind of? You had, oh, never mind. I want to talk to you then. You already got the hints, but you're right. You kind of can. Anybody who didn't get help on this, did you check your reference table? Chloe, you admitted you Googled, right? Yeah. Did you check your reference table first? No. Did you use your reference table for the rest? Yeah. Okay. This one's not on your reference table. Nowhere on here says the density of the crust, hydrosphere, and troposphere. So I'm curious, how did I expect you to know this? Because I don't expect you to ever Google anything. My question to you is, what is the hydrosphere? If you don't know what the hydrosphere is, look back in your notes from yesterday. What's the hydrosphere? Everybody flip back to what we wrote yesterday. It's on the front cover. Water. Hydrosphere is a fancy name for water. What is the atmosphere? Air. What is the lithosphere? Rocks. Right. So these names. Huh? That's exactly what you got to do. So if you didn't know much about the hydrosphere, the atmosphere, the lithosphere, you would have flipped back and, well, your notes should be filled out. But we said in the notes, lithosphere is the solid layer. Hydrosphere is the water layer and the atmosphere is the gas. Now I have a question for you. If I only asked about water, air, and rocks, do you guys know which one's least dense out of those 3? Air, yeah. Air is least dense. Do you know which one's most dense? Rocks are most dense, which leaves water in the middle. Now I actually have a question. some of you didn't know. Some of you didn't know off the top of your head that air was less dense than water and rocks were more dense. So here's what I'd like you to picture. Picture yourself a fish tank. What are fish tanks filled with? Water. And then you put a rock in the fish tank. What happens to the rock? It sinks. And why do things sink? Because they're more dense. Be careful with the word heavy. Okay, because heavy and dense are not the same thing. More dense are the things that sink. So if you've got that fish tank and the rock sink, then the water must be, or the rock must be more dense than water. Yeah. Because it's less dense than water. The way the boat is, it has to do with buoyancy too. There's a little more to it. But right, but it is still, and it does have to do with buoyancy. There is more to it that you could talk about in physics. And I don't have time to get into buoyancy, but the way the boat is shaped, the force going up is more than the force going down, and there's more to it. Okay. Right, and so then once it started to flood, that's when that area got filled with water and we had more weight in the same volume, so it sunk. But there is a little more to it. It is called buoyancy and it is something you learn in physics. But the basics of it is mass divided by volume. So the fact that it was really heavy, but it was also really big, so it took up a lot of space. And then the force going up was less than the force going down, and there's a whole lot to it. But anyway, back to the fish tank. We have it filled with water and a rock sinks. So because the rock sinks, it's more dense. Then we put air into the fish tank. So lots of people have like those bubblers in a fish tank. Where does the air go in the fish tank? Up. The bubbles always go up. Or if I put a balloon filled with air into a fish tank, where's that balloon filled with air gonna go? Just to prove a point, dude. Just to prove a point. If I put a balloon in a fish tank, it floats on the top of the fish tank because it's less dense. So air is the least dense and rocks are the most dense. I need the graph too.
The graph.
Yeah.
Oh. Like over there.
So I know you're talking about water in general, but since the water is has chlorine in it, would there be a difference of certain things that could float in like regular water versus chemical water?
Yeah, same with salt water too. So chlorine, like, so you still have the same amount of water, but you add chlorine or you add salt to it. So now it has more mass in the same amount of space. So chlorine water and salt water are technically a little more dense than pure water.
So then what would chemical water that would be like river water?
Yeah, so I don't know off the top of my head random densities, but I can talk about salt water. So if you have salty enough water, like there is a sea, I think, did we say it was the Dead Sea? We're pretty sure it's the Dead Sea. We had this conversation in the other class. The Dead Sea is, if that's the one I'm talking about, is super, super salty. So when you go in it, like normally in the ocean, and in the lake, we kind of sink, but we kind of, like, we don't sink to the bottom of those, we kind of stay near the top. In the Dead Sea, you basically float on the top like you have a raft. Because yeah, it is weird. And they can make salt pools that do the same thing it's called flotation therapy or something. You have to Google it. But you really have to try to go underwater in the really salty ocean that we are pretty sure is the Dead Sea, but not positive.
Yeah, yep.
Dead Sea, there, now we're positive because we Googled it. So it's so salty, it's like really hard to sink in it. Like you have to put effort into
You
sinking.
can't swim in it because it is so salty and you can't swim.
You barely just float,
Yeah, you just.
which is weird. So like I said, there is some sort of therapy that does it, so maybe it is. Just remember seeing a documentary or something.
I should get out and swim.
Well, so you can't swim, like, you can't, like, go down, you're just floating on the top, like you have a life jacket on.
Oh,
Though, yeah, yeah, right, you would just float, like, wouldn't that be cool? Oh, so- Yeah, so yeah, that'd be fun. So it's like you're literally just surfing almost with just your body. Anyway, this is earth science, or this is doing anything that you're ever struggling with. If the words are hard because they're new words, replace them with what you know. The hydrosphere is nothing more than water. The atmosphere is nothing more than air. And the lithosphere is no more than rocks. And you know stuff about water, air, and rocks. So by the way, you need to put the real answers here. Atmosphere, hydrosphere. And lithosphere. So for the record, this will show up on a quiz, this will show up on a test, this will probably show up on another homework, and this will also show up in lab probably one more time. You need to know this, how to think through this question. All right, for the rest of the answers, because they were straight off the reference table, I'm gonna just put the answers up here and you let me know if you need me to go over any of them. Would it help if I say them out loud or should I just let you look? No one's gonna answer me, so I'll talk less. You look.
I got
You got oxygen for 7? Did you do that off the top of your head? You don't know, maybe. Grab your reference table. Not you, you leave. What'd you say? Okay, let's do one here at a time. So first, everybody check your answers. And then put little marks next to the one that you want me to go over. So Hayden said for number 7, he put troposphere.
Oh.
No, he didn't. He said he put the oxygen.
No, I figured out what it did.
You figured it out?
I went to this thing
Ooh,
and had the biggest number so far.
okay. So Hayden made a classic mistake. The question asked most abundant in the troposphere. So you have to go to the troposphere column,
Yeah.
which is 78% is the biggest number, and that's nitrogen. He went to the crust column. What? That's what you did, and that is a classic mistake, and you can bet your butt that the answer, if this was multiple choice, they would have had oxygen as one of the answers.
I think that's just.
No, but they know where you're gonna screw up, and they don't help.
Yeah, that's why.
But that's why it's my job for the next 10 months to know where you're gonna screw up. I'm sorry, but there's only 9 left now. For the next 9 months, my job is to make sure I know where you're gonna screw up and to stop you from making those same mistakes over and over. So I will often talk about what Hayden's doing right now, making the classic mistakes. I'm gonna just try to point out how you make the classic mistakes and show you how to fix the mistakes. The key here, what did Hayden not do that he should have done? Read all the words. If you read all the words and you saw troposphere here and you saw troposphere here, you would have gotten it right. So that is why the #1 rule of earth science is to read all the words. Any others that you want me to go over 1 through 11 yet? Cynthia, you found your mistake? Okay. All right, then 13, 14, and 15. Take a look at those. Any of those you want me to go over?
Did it again.
You did it again? Goodness sakes. Anybody else need me to go over those 3? And on the back.
Bottom makes no sense.
The bottom, so the bottom I think was rude. Wait, what are you talking about for the bottom? Well, yeah, that's why I put this squiggly line here and told you that you only had to do questions 1 through 25.
Oh, but then I didn't do it.
Here are the answers. Check your answers.
She took it on multiple choice, short false, yes. That's false, that's false.
What? Or are you talking to Hayden?
That's false, no.
Which one you want me to go over? So these ones you had to do some math. You just had to add them together. 19?
That's the multiply.
No. What percent of Earth's crust by volume is made out of silicon and oxygen? So we've got percent by volume. Here's silicon and oxygen. You just add those two numbers together. You're looking in the math again. So Hayden. And everyone else who's making the same mistakes Hayden is. Read all the words. So you had to make sure you were in the by mass, nope, sorry, by volume column. For the multiple choice, they were all false except for question 21. Does anybody want me to go over any of those? All right, let's get started with the next stuff. Holy cow, we're running out of time. All right, so that you guys know what you have to do for homework, I'm actually going to skip the notes for right now. The notes that you do have to write are right. Actually, let's do this. So we're not skipping them. I'm just going to skip talking about them as much. So right here on the bottom of page 4, if you did these yesterday or for homework, or you didn't know what to write there, that's because you didn't listen to me yesterday. So a coordinate system, you learned these in math class. In math, you learn about coordinate systems when you do graphing. You have the X coordinate, the Y coordinate. You take the X number and the Y number, bring your fingers together, and that's where the plot goes. Latitude and longitude works the same way. Latitude and longitude is basically graph paper put on the globe. Did you put this on the bottom of page 4?
No.
Right now, you should be writing this on the bottom of page 4. Those of you who filled this in thinking it was homework yesterday, make sure what you have there now says this. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, so you guys have some homework. We just took a little longer to go over the test than I anticipated, which is fine. So your homework is on page 7. So when you're done writing, if everybody could turn to page 7, let me show you what you're doing. So first of all, I'm not even going to, you don't have to do all of this. So I'm going to go with you guys. So from Jake over, so including Kelsey and Mike in the back. You guys are going to do latitude. So circle latitude for you guys only. You guys, believe it or not, then you're going to do longitude, circle longitude. Now, as the board says there, you only have to do your side, so don't bother doing extra. And it says, do not do the miscellaneous. So these two boxes down here at the bottom, these ones down at the bottom, this one with the stars and this empty box, don't cross them off, but you don't need to fill them in. You do need to fill in these top ones. Now, where are you going to get this information? The page before. So the page 5 has longitude. Page 6 has latitude. You're looking for, where is 0 degrees? I want a name, guys. Tell me the name of this place,
Just leave it.
okay? Lines are called, we used to just call them when you were in younger grades, lines of latitude and lines of longitude. They now have a fancy name. There's a fancy name for these, get it from the reading. Which way do they run? So lines run. So it just means, do they go side to side or up and down? You tell me. Now, the appearance, I already did it for you.
Sit backwards.
They measure degrees. It says right in the reading what degrees they measure, and it tells you the highest degree. So you really are doing, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions for homework. Only do your side, latitude over here, longitude over here. That's it. Yeah, Kelsey. Not Kelsey? What the frig is your name? Mackenzie. Yeah, that explains that you don't know which one it was because I called you Kelsey. Mackenzie, you're doing latitude. Sorry. So again, finish up your side for homework.